Hey everyone, this is Matt. In today's video, I have for you a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel deck profile. This is Subterror for the Theme Chronicle Festival. So the Theme Chronicle Festival already ended, but I did post an Adventures of video where I basically speedran the festival because I finished my rank climb just a few days ago, and there was only like a couple days between that and finishing the festival when the festival ended. So I put this deck together to speedrun that. So yeah, unfortunately, you won't be able to play this deck in the Theme Chronicle anymore because it's no longer happening. But if it comes back, who knows? Maybe you can play this deck. Anyway, I'm just gonna mostly speedrun this deck list, just because, well, you won't be able to play it. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess since you can't play it right away, there's not that much urgency. But in case anyone was curious what the deck was, or just to have it in the future. Let's get into it. So, Subterror Core cards. So these are cards I believe should be in every Subterror deck. So 3 Guru, your main boss monster, right? 3 Fiendus to hand trap, in archetype hand trap. 1 copy of Nemesis Archer, the waifu of the deck, and like very powerful. 2 copies of Final Battle, so you can trap trick into this, and because sometimes having 2 live is very useful because you can flip face down and flip face up on the same turn, and vice versa, right? 3 copies of the Hidden City. Yeah, this is your field spell that searches your Guru and your other Subterror monsters. It also gives some like pretty good effects, allowing you to flip cards face up every turn, including ones that were set monsters that were just set, right? Some players like to play Umastrix. I don't think it's necessary, but if you want to play, I'm not going to fault you. And some players also like to play one of the other Subterror behemoths. I forgot which one. Not this one. Probably not that one. Let me see. Maybe this one? Possibly. Yeah, maybe this is the one that other Subterror players like to play. You can. It's not necessary. Cave Clash is also a pretty good card. Not necessary to play. So I didn't. Right. Moving on. 3 copies of Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Pretty self-explanatory. Protects all set cards, including your set monsters, from destruction effects. Searches out cards from the deck. We used to use this to sometimes grab Terraforming, and Terraforming can go into Hidden City, which is full combo. However, because of tier limits, Konami decided to ban Terraforming in Master Duel, so we can't do that anymore. But what we can set from the deck is we can set 1 copy of Prosperity, or 1 copy of Extrav, or 1 copy of Duality. Yeah, this just gets you more cards, so why not? We are playing 2 copies of Trap Trick. Yeah, we have a lot of traps in our deck, as you can imagine. This just helps us search it, right? I'm playing the 1 copy of Wannabe. This is like a second Duality. I'm still very borderline about this card, and honestly, I think it's just going to get cut in all my future trap decks, because a lot of times, like, if you're going first, especially against, like, you know, a deck that, because like Subterror doesn't have a strong OTK threat, right? So let's say you're going first, you want to be on your end phase, you set a card, like a trap card that you know that your opponent knows is gonna like break their combo or like prevent them from doing stuff. They could just like draw and then instant pass their turn, because the card that just set off Wannabe goes to the graveyard, right? And if they're not afraid of you OTKing them, then they can just do that, right? So yeah, it's not great. Yeah, so basically, like, whatever you get off Wannabe has to be used this on the same turn. So yeah, feel free to cut this. I'm starting to be less and less of a fan the more I've used it. So yeah, but I did use this on my climb. Anyway, we have 2 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison. A lot of the Subterror cards target, and sometimes you need non-targeting removal, so Ice Dragons helps with that. We have 3 copies of Destructive Doom of Karma Cannon. This card is busted. It's basically a Book of Eclipse. Flips all monsters face down. Does not require you to discard. Does not flip them back face up. Does not draw your opponent cards. Cannot be ashed. It's a normal trap. Can be set off Trap Trick. But also, it's not once per turn. So you can literally... This is literally a 3 of, right? Because every copy you see is live. And if there are any link monsters that are really annoying to out, such as, well, I don't know if the Arrival Cybers adding this year is legal in the Theme Chronicle, but for example, Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, which can become untargetable and indestructible by card effects if it was link summoned using a level 7 or higher, right? Yeah, if you want to out that, this is a great card to do that. And in fact, in my Adventures of video, I literally do that against a Danger Orcus player that sets up the Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. So yeah, really good. Could also just set all your Guru back face down, in case you had no other way to setting it face down, right? Can prevent your. Usually you like to do this during the battle phase sometimes to prevent lethal, or you could do this in main phase to kill your opponent's combo. Dead in its tracks. We're playing 3 copies of Solemn Strike, and 2 copies of Draco Utopian Aura. So, Solemn Strike is just amazing. It's not once per turn. Negate and destroy monster effects as a counter trap. So if they set up an annoying monster whose effect is annoying, like for example Invoked Mechaba, this is a great, since Baronne de Fleur is banned, there are still other annoying monsters such as Adamant's Predator Risen, Dragite Risen, Invoked Mechaba, the Gate Guardian monster, right? All the Gate Guardian monsters are annoying. Yeah, you can just Solemn Strike their summon or chain to their effect to negate and destroy them, right? So very, very good card, and they can't do anything about it. And in fact, Draco is just 2 more copies of Solemn Strike. Unfortunately, it is once per turn, so that's why we run 2. Yeah, it serves the same function. It cannot negate summons, but can negate and destroy monsters who activate their effects on the field. So, and counter trap that can't be responded to. Very good card. We're playing 3 copies of Waybridge. This card is pretty nice. I don't play in Labyrinth, but if you wanted to, you could. Honestly, I play Torrential Tribute in Labyrinth instead, right? I don't play Torrential Tribute in this deck. The reason because if you Torrential Tribute your Subterror monsters, unless they're protected by Lord of the Heavenly Prison, it kind of hurts, right? And unlike in Labyrinth, where it's easy to get your monsters back from the graveyard. So, for example, you have Big Welcome. You can chain Lady to set, right? You have your field spell, right? It's a little harder, and also you can when you set up your first board, right? You set Torrential, you set a Welcome. You can use Torrential before you use Welcome, right? But with Subterror, you have to, you're going first. You're setting up your first turn board. You set or summon your Subterror monster, and then you set Torrential. Then that monster is vulnerable to being destroyed by Torrential. So I felt like I didn't really need Torrential. I felt like Waybridge was a pretty good alternative, especially since like on the first turn, you're either sitting on Guru or no monster, right? So as soon as they summon 3 or more monsters, you can just Waybridge and like wipe their field, right? Go watch my Adventures of video for my Theme Chronicle speedrun, and it is, yeah. This card comes up quite a lot. It's very useful. It's not once per turn, so if they keep trying to push and make more monsters, put more stuff on their field, you can just use this more than once. So Dogmatic Punishment is not legal. We run Terrors of the Overroot, which is once per turn, unfortunately, but yeah, it does allow you to send to the graveyard, so it does not destroy cards on your opponent's field, front row or back row, and then set cards from their graveyard onto their field. So this can be powerful removal. It does not destroy, so any monsters that have floating effects will not trigger. So let's say, for example, I think an example that came up in my Adventures video, someone made the Stealth Kraken, which is that rank 4 water monster that summons a bunch of Kraken spawns when it's destroyed. If you send it to the graveyard via this card, it does not count as being destroyed. So its effects does not trigger, right? Also, if your opponent is trying to special summon a monster from the graveyard, you can interrupt that by specialing that same monster, but it'll come out face down instead of face up, right? Which means they can't use that monster's effects or for any kind of Link, Synchro, or Xyz summoning, right? They can use it to fuse and ritual summon, but yeah, so this can be a pretty good interruption. Next, we play. What else do we play? 1 copy of Imperial Iron Wall. This is searchable off Lord of the Heavenly Prison. It can stop Evenly Match, although I don't even know if Evenly Match is legal in this. I think it is. Yeah, it is. Never came up though. And yeah, some decks rely on banishing, so you can just search this off Lord, and it stays on the field forever. And finally, I'm running 3 copies of Crackdown. So this is a continuous trap that says activate by targeting one face of monster your opponent controls, take control of that monster. And while you control the monster, cannot attack or activate effects. But it's if it has any continuous or passive effects, it's live, right? And then when the monster leaves the field, destroy this card. So this is so yeah, I think I started playing the Theme Chronicle Festival with Max C. I ended up cutting Max C's for this card because Max C just kept getting ashed or called by, or like they would just end their turn, right? Because there's a lot less threat of OTKing in the festival because decks aren't as crazy, right? So it's easy to just like pass your turn as soon as Max C happens. So so if you don't ash, called by, cross out designator, you can just end your turn and your opponent like draws 1 card. So it's like, yeah, I never satisfyingly resolve let's just say, yeah, I never satisfyingly resolve Max C during the festival to really like do much. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna play Crackdown because Crackdown is a funny card. Yeah, it's not once per turn. Just take your opponent's monsters. Yoink, right? Like, it's funny. Yeah, can kill your opponent's combo in his tracks and take your opponent's boss monsters. Only thing is that it targets, right? Yeah, the only slightly annoying part is that it takes up back row slots, but ideally if you're yoinking their monster, I guess you could like always link it away. I do have some link monsters that you could use in this deck. So yeah, it's a good card. If you want to swap this out for Torrential or other traps, feel free. But I thought Crackdown was a hilarious addition. Let's get into Extra Deck. Extra Deck is not that important because, again, we don't have punishment, and we barely use the Extra Deck. But we do run 3 copies of Elder Antecedent Tis, just in case your opponent forces you to send cards from the Extra Deck to the graveyard. So Nadir Servant is banned, too, I think. I don't know if Maximus is banned. But and there's also some other like Dogmatica ritual decks and like other ritual based decks that make force your opponent to send extra deck cards to the graveyard. So yeah, if they use that against you, you have an Entis that you can just pop one of their cards. On that note, we also run a Garura for the same reason. As for link monsters that will and also Tri Brigade Farragut. Let's you draw a card, discard a card, right? Yeah, so other monsters that we might actually use, we run 3 copies of Striker Dragon. Striker Dragon simply can link away your Subterror Guru to make him into a dark monster. If you have Fiendus, you can revive Guru immediately, and then you've effectively just link climbed, right? Yeah, and another reason to have this card is like if we have the Dark Charmer, which we run. It's very easy to make a dark to dark charmer by just converting Guru into a dark monster, right, and then using any other body. We run Ausa, the Earth Charmer. Less likely to come up, but there are some Earth decks. I think I saw some La Dolces and other Earth decks in this formats. If you're in a Subterror mirror match, you could theoretically yoink your opponent's Guru in the graveyard, right, or Fiendus. I never had a mirror match though. I don't know if the Crawlers deck is Earths or they're all Darks. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Point is, just in case you want to, steal something from the graveyard, or if you just, you've stolen their monster with Crackdown, you just want to link away the monster, so that Crackdown, so it's gone, and also Crackdown is not taking up your back row slots. Feel free to use Alsa because all your other monsters here in the deck are Earth. And because of Fiendus effect, you can use Fiendus plus your opponent's monster, make Alsa, and then if you have a second Fiendus, they could just revive the first Fiendus, and then so your Fienduses can, if you have like if you have 2 Fienduses in rotation, like between your hand and graveyard, you effectively have infinite Fiendus, right? Because they can just keep reviving each other. Each copy can revive another copy of Fiendus. What else? Play Black Lazar Soldier of Chaos. Very good card. Access code is banned. Zeus is banned. But this is a very good boss monster. Obviously, it becomes untargetable and indestructible by card effects only if you link it with a level 7 or higher monster. So Lord of the Heavenly Prison can fulfill that requirement, but also can your opponent's monsters that you steal from Crackdown. You can just, make this, and then very few decks have outs to this guy. So, yeah, very powerful. We also have Nightmare Phoenix. I probably this should probably be Unicorn, but I don't own Unicorn. I don't want to spend gems on Unicorn. But Unicorn is more generic because it can bounce any card. Phoenix has to pop a back row. Yeah, I mean, honestly, just never really came up. One copy of Celine, just so that I can revive a Fiendus, and also help if we're doing any link climbing, like we can get to Soldier of Chaos if we need to. One copy of Exiton Knight. This is rank 4. You can make it with 2 Gurus. It's a board clear, effectively. And then, what's it called? One copy of Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. Also a rank 4 you can make with 2 Gurus. Again, extra deck not as important, and feel free to play around with these numbers and change things. In fact, you can, if you really wanted to, you could probably run Gallant Granite because it's an Earth, and also it can search Lord of the Heavenly Prison. So yeah, maybe I just swap this out, and there you go, right? That's probably an improvement. Anyway, so yeah, so that's my Subterror speedrun Theme Chronicle deck profile. This deck was so I swear it's the best deck in the festival, because I mean you saw my adventures of and my match history there. I was just winning everything. I ended up because you have to win exactly 44 games to reach the end of the festival and get all the awards, right? Or rewards. I mean, I did end up dropping some games near the end. In fact, specifically games where Maxi was useless, right? Or I wish Maxi was Crackdown kind of games. Yeah, so I did not go undefeated, but I almost went undefeated. I had a greater than 90% win rate in this festival. It was insane how good this deck was. And yeah, most decks cannot play through the Subterror engine, which involves a Book of Moon plus activation negation plus a bunch of back row. It's yeah, very few decks have that much gas or grand game in this festival. Let me trying to think of what does. I mean, Invoke sets up a single negate. I guess, yeah, nah, even Invokes is not that big a deal. Maybe Gold Pride. I'm not too familiar with Gold Pride, but I think it's at full power in this festival. I think I ran into 1 or 2, and it wasn't. I don't know. Actually, maybe one of my losses was to one of the Gold Prides. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, but just play Subterror. It's great. It's the best deck of the Theme Chronicle. I believe in the last Theme Chronicle it was banned. By last one, I mean the one I played last year before my hiatus, right? And I think I played Amazement, which is just another control deck that's you use the same types of cards. Not as good as Subterror, I don't think, but still ended up doing well for me. Yeah, so you can also play Amazement if you don't like Subterror for whatever reason. Anyway, yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. You learned something, and yeah, consider Subterror on the next Theme Chronicle Festival. All right, take care. Have a good one. Peace.